the sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away.
cray, yeah.
There we go. Good evening, all you beautiful people, and welcome to the Class vs. Crass Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, AJ. Joining me as always, we got the bearded one down below.
Hello.
And the crassy one to the right or to the left, depending on how well versed you are in your right and left. RGT85.
When I was a kid, to learn my left and right hand, I had a wart on my thumb right here on my right hand. So that was the way I knew which hand was which. And then I got really drunk when I was in high school. And like everyone had gone out to go get more like beer and drugs and shit. And it was just me, the dude whose house we were at, and this girl that he was banging. And I remember I was on the couch just like in another world. And I was sitting there picking at it, at the wart, and I ripped it off. And like it was just like gushing blood. And I like started screaming. And like the dude ran out and like his boxers were like a half boner. And he's like, "What's wrong?" He took care of me. He's a good dude. We weren't even really like that good of friends, but we became friends after that.
But how'd you know how to get back home after?
Well, I stayed the night there.
Okay. I never know the things I'm going to get out of you. I threw that so randomly. Oh, let's put a right and left joke. This guy's a story for it. Remember, folks, right is wart. Wart is right.
Yeah. I still got. There's still a little scar there. Still a little scar.
Wow.
Do you know how I got this scar?
Rubbed it on a Battletoad. So if it is your first time joining us, it is a 1 hour podcast where we talk about all the latest in gaming. We weren't here last week, so we got 2 weeks of gaming to catching up on. We usually start off with...
Which we never do. It'll just be all last week's stuff.
Sure, yes, unless there was something really exciting 2 weeks ago, but I don't even remember what happened 2 weeks ago.
Every week feels like a dumpster fire in the games industry, so it's a lot to talk about.
There is. What did happen? Oh, the Halo 3 delay was from 2 weeks. Not Halo 3, just the Halo delay.
Halo Infinite.
From 2 weeks ago. We never talked about that. And I guess Fall Guys. Anyways, we talk about what we've been playing. We talk about the headlines. This week, we got some good stuff. We're going to talk about the Nindie World Direct and why diversity is important in game. No, we're just going to talk about the games we love it, like it, hate it, or meh. We're going to talk about the Avengers Beta, because I know Greg played it. He didn't like it. I played it. I liked it. I don't know what Sean did with it. But I know that there's this other beef, though, because there's Battletoads that came out. Sean hated it. Greg loved it. So it's going to be an interesting episode here. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the DC game reveals yesterday because it's exciting.
Yep.
With all that later. Oh, and then the last 15 minutes, that's the lightning round. That's where we take your questions, your topics, anything we might have missed, and try to go through it as fast as we can. All right, let's get started with Sean. What have you been playing?
Played Battletoads, unfortunately.
All of it?
No, I didn't finish that shit.
It's that bad, huh?
It's not. It's like, is this going to be a segment, or is this where we talk about it?
Well, you can do your everything else you talked about, and then we can segment into Battletoads.
I played. Well, most of the games that I played were also from the Indie World thing. So, the one game I didn't play that was in the Indie World thing was Virtua Racing on the Sega Genesis, which is a fantastic game. Proves that the SVP chip for the Sega Genesis was way better than the FX chip for the Super Nintendo, and Sega should have done more with it. And it's a damn shame that they didn't.
What's the story here? Because I know you've always been a big fan of Virtua Racing. So why is it relevant again this week?
It's not. I just felt like playing it.
Oh, okay. All right. Anything else you've been playing that isn't a segment?
Nothing that's not a segment.
All right. How about you, Greg, other than Battletoads or Avengers? Jeez, all of this is a segment.
Jumped into... Actually, I picked up my 3DS again for whatever reason. I just found my older... I have the slimmer or the smaller first release of the console, the bulky black one, the little tiny one. But I checked out Madden again just because I was like curious, because I never really played it on my Majora's Mask limited edition 3DS, and so it's quite sad. I mean, there was some good things going for it, and they could have very well had a decent Madden game on the 3DS, if they continued supporting it and stuff like that. But I also went back and played a little bit of Majora's Mask. I was kind of all over the place. I played a little Celeste, got through a couple more level or rooms, played a little bit again of the Avengers open beta, played Battletoads a little bit. I actually played Flight Simulator. Jumped into that a little bit.
Everyone seems to be loving that.
Yeah, it's crazy, just the so my computer is like, pretty decent, and next upgrade is a GPU, but it held its own for mid to high specs. Just being able to, like, I live across the street, just pretty near to the airport here, and you can fly out of that airport, and it's just so crazy to see that and the level of detail and just checking it out, and then flying out of the airport that my buddy is training at back home in California. Cool. It's just really neat how they implemented like the satellite images and the interior of the plane, and it kind of jumped into it for a little bit just to check it out, to see what all the fuss was about. But that's what I love about Game Pass, is being able to get Battletoads, to get Flight Sim, and at least check them out and see if they're down the road I would end up buying them, or given that Battletoads is so short, that's also.
Did you complete it
just to get out of the way and play it? What's that?
Did you complete Battletoads?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
It sucks.
Let's just open it. I'm so curious. I just want to hear. I haven't played it.
You know what the crazy thing is? The part that everyone hated, the graphical style, I feel is the best part of the game. The gameplay sucks. It's not fun. It's a beat 'em up, so there's going to be repetitiveness, but like you can just pretty much spam like the strong attack when you're Zitz, and like none of the basic enemies really get you, and some of the enemies are just they take forever. You have to wait. Like their patterns are simplistic. Like there'll be one enemy where it's like it charges at you twice and then it hits the wall and then you have to punch it, but you literally can do nothing to that enemy while you're waiting for them to go through that animation. So you just have to sit there and wait for that animation. And there's so much stupid shit added into the game. Like calling it a beat 'em up is ridiculous. First off, let's get the cat out of the bag here. The original Battletoads was not that good. The original Battletoads looked good and it sounded good, but the gameplay was not good. Like, people know that game, because it's hard. It was hard because of poor level design. It wasn't hard because it was just a challenging game. It was literally just because of poor level design and ridiculous AI and just shit like that. There's puzzle segments in the game. There's quick time events in the game. Like,
how do you have puzzles and beat 'em ups?
It's stupid puzzles. Like, you just get to an area and you got to hit these switches, and there's like a little thing that you go through. I played it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's only like a 3.5 hour game, but I have no desire to finish it because I did not have fun with it. It's another Game Pass game, because you could just throw anything on Game Pass and it doesn't even have to be a good game, because people will say, "Oh, you get it for free with Game Pass."
Greg, your counter.
I actually like the combat, and I know that's not where you were expecting. Especially what Sean was saying on Twitter about it. Kind of feeling like loose, or
holy shit! The turbo tunnel feels so loose.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I like the art style, and I do agree with you there. And I feel like the comedy kind of is. Even it's hard for me to laugh out loud at a game, and I did find some moments where I was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty funny," or "Oh, that was stupid." And I like stupid, silly, witty, sarcastic, style of comedy like that. And I just kind of felt that, through the first initial portion of the game, and just the little segment where it goes into the second part. But I only played through the very beginning of it, the first level. And didn't have any problems, like, getting. I remember I got to a point I was like, oh shit, I was so close to 100 hit combo, and I was like, okay, this feels a little bit better than what I had anticipated. But kind of similar to how I felt about that was like, you kind of have to really limit, how enthusiastic or vice versa that I feel about the game, because I was gunning for Avengers 2 after the opening sequence was complete shit to me, and then it kind of opened up and I felt a little bit better. So my feelings towards it may change, but I'm at least giving it a shot, given that it's a new release.
So
and it is. I did appreciate it was on Game Pass. Like, I mean, I don't really have an opinion, oh, it's a Game Pass game or it isn't, but I probably would have ended up buying it just like River City Girls. I purchased it even though I had a review copy outside of that, so just so I can play it on another system.
Glad you brought that up, because Hustle and Motivate was asking like, what's a good beat 'em up. I was gonna ask Sean, have you played River City Girls? Because I know Greg's a big fan of that.
I haven't, but like I said in the chat, Streets of Rage 4 is fucking god tier. Like, so good.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Streets of Rage 4, but I think I ended up giving River City Girls a 7. I think.
Like, the thing about beat 'em ups is it's a very well established genre, so it's not even necessarily like you could do a whole bunch of stuff with it. Like, I feel with beat 'em ups are kind of like first person shooters to me, where pretty much everything has been done, so you just sort of build upon what's already there and try to make it better and put your own spin on it. Try to make the characters more interesting, try to make the levels more interesting, try to make the combat as tight as possible. So it's very rare that you see like a beat 'em up game get super high scores or anything like that. But like Streets of Rage 4, there's no online multiplayer in Battletoads yet, by the way. Forgot to mention that. It's only local. However, in Streets of Rage 4, you have online battles. You have reasons to go through because you get all of the classic characters from Streets of Rage 1 through 3 but just by playing through the game and getting a higher score, and you unlock those characters and they play differently, and there's little secrets in the game and stuff. Like, to me, it was a much more complete package, and Battletoads just really felt more like a nostalgia grab.
It was. Would you say that it's still better than the original, considering the original is, you're saying it's garbage?
It's tough for me to say. Like, I didn't hate the original, but it's not a top 10 NES game. Like, there's so many NES games that are better than Battletoads, but for some reason, Battletoads was just popular, I guess. Like, okay, Turtles, Turtles beat 'em up games are way better. I would rather play Turtles 2 or Turtles 3 on the NES over Battletoads, because yes, Battletoads looks better, but those two games play better.
That was my first NES game outside of Mario, was Turtles 2. I played that so much.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nearly as good as the arcade version, but for what it wasn't a bad game. I mean, it was way better than Turtles 1. But yeah, Double Dragon 2, like Double Dragon 2 is amazing, super fun, even though I even liked Double Dragon 4. Like, Double Dragon 4 didn't do anything. It really felt like the next NES Double Dragon game, but once you sort of got past that, like, it was still fun. It's just Battletoads just wasn't fun for. I don't want to do puzzles in a beat 'em up game that are like, got to get this electrical current through a certain area.
That
like,
sounds like Skylanders.
Yeah, but I will say, like you said, they tried to. It's hard to evolve the beat 'em up genre, but they did throw in, like, and I haven't gotten to those areas, so I don't know, but at least they're. Maybe this was their attempt to kind of evolve it and to give something other than repetitive beat 'em up sequences and things like that. But I did play, like, one of my favorites out of the series has been Battletoads Double Dragon, and like
that's a good one.
Yeah, and I don't know, it might be one of those games that, like, I remember it being so good because it was the first game I bought for the SNES with my own money, and so maybe the bias is there, but I remember we would go through and play it over and over again. And then I went back to play it a little bit ago, and I was like, damn, this game is fucking hard. And like, sometimes you just get knocked off the platform or whatever. But I think with one thing that I feel is kind of lacking even in the beginning of Battletoads is like the scale of the scene. It feels so condensed and almost cluttered at times. You know, I felt like they could have. I felt like you would have had a better scope of the combat if they would have just zoomed out, and maybe that changes in certain areas. But you know, initially it's kind of annoying.
You're talking about in Battletoads?
Yeah,
and really the combat diminishes as far as how you actually play the game. Like the level of combat that you actually are doing a standard beat 'em up game gets less and less frequent because they throw more and more gameplay elements into it that nobody asks for,
like puzzles. You mentioned your take on Avengers changed, so do you not like it, or do you like it more after playing the first level, Greg?
So that intro section is horrible.
Agreed with you.
I hated every aspect of it. I felt like the character models looked terrible. The animations, it's like getting, you know, this is a first impression. This is a first introduction to me getting hands on to, you know, how a game plays, and I completely just was turned off by it. And you know, even Captain America just felt so clunky and just uncharacteristic of him. And going back, I even mentioned this on Twitter, you know, 2011, they had the Xbox 360 version of Captain America, and it was a Sega published game, and I felt that was so much more representative of the character and how the combat would feel like if you were playing as Cap. And like, you know, it felt so out of place, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be terrible. And then the second scene is where you open up where you can play as Hulk, and you know, you're going through the forest and get to this little area, and even that was like, I don't like this.
See,
but then, you know,
I liked it there. That's where the game grew on to me, was the Hulk level.
But see, and it didn't grow on me until, you know, we started to experience other characters. And so, I don't know. I'm like still, you know, kind of on the fence about even buying it or continuing on. So, I don't know.
It's I wouldn't play it, like I was going into it with everybody talking about it being a mediocre game. So my expectations were low. When I got into that intro, I'm like, well, I've seen this at E3 last year. I'm just going to play through this to get to the new stuff to really experience the game. And when I got control of Hulk, it was like, okay, this feels like Hulk. I'm just smashing and destroying everything. And it was fun. Like I love grabbing enemies and then just like smashing them everywhere into other people like a ragdoll. I played, I think, the Hulk for like at 30 minutes to an hour. And I was like, all right, I'm good. I actually passed the controller over to my son when it was time to play Miss Marvel, because I'm like, I'm out, and he wanted to play. He loved it, by the way. He played it for like a good 2 hours. I saw he got like to a level where you're Iron Man and stuff, and he really loved it. I felt it was very similar to the Lego Marvel game with HD graphic, like with realistic coding added to it.
It's weird. It's kind of like a Ultimate Alliance, Marvel versus Capcom, Lego style game. Like they implemented a lot of elements to get, you know, some substance to it to make it a Destiny style game.
Yeah, and it's a kind of game I would love to. It's the type of game that wouldn't hook me. I'd love to maybe, you know, turn it on for 30 minutes when I just want to like just zone out, just destroy things and upgrade my gear. I would totally do that. Like Sergeant Crack in the chat saying here, Avengers is good. It's not $60 good. And I agree. I wouldn't pay $60, but if it was on Game Pass, probably will be. I would totally pick it up.
It won't be on Game Pass. I mean, eventually it'll be on Game Pass, maybe.
Maybe eventually.
But it won't be at day one Game Pass.
Probably not.
Squeenix doesn't do that.
That's the thing, though.
Unless Microsoft pays a bunch of money for it to be on Game Pass, but then that would be anti-consumer, wouldn't it? It would be anti-consumer to Sony owners.
I think that's a very fair trade-off, though, to put something on Game Pass, whereas, you know, the other console gets the exclusive. I mean, they've got to make a move that's, you know, better for business at some point.
But really, is the game going to sell all that great? Really?
I don't know. My initial thoughts were like it would be like a 4, maybe a 5 or a 6, but I could see it being about like, I don't know, like a 6 or a 7. I don't know.
I feel like mainstream gaming media has a hard on for anything superheroes related, though.
Yeah,
to
and
like where they will probably overscore it. Like if you stripped away the Avengers element from the game,
Oh yeah, it would.
and it was yeah, like, but that's what makes it interesting. So that's what they get excited about.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you play?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I gave Ultimate Alliance a 7.5, and like, my expectations as I sit here wearing an X-Men shirt, going into it was like, okay, cool. There's a lot of different characters. There's ones that have been excluded from the Avengers. There's characters like Wolverine and all that sort of stuff. And I still, my expectations for it were a lot higher in the experience. Even though I've gone back and played it, it still feels like I felt like I gave it an appropriate score. But my feelings going into the Avengers Open Beta were a little bit higher, even though I was, trying to stay grounded on it, and I was completely turned off by it. So, given that aspect of being excited for one, and then, scoring at a 7.5, and then, kind of having more grounded expectations, I don't know. It's just, I felt like there's a lot of missed opportunities, and I can't see how it's going to be ready September 4th.
Oh, it won't. I think this is going to be a game that's going to grow. I think it's going to be a way better experience in a year from now, and even in 2 years from now.
Didn't they say it's essentially a games as a service game?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's how I frame it. I'm like, okay, they're going to launch with the bare essentials. It's not going to be great. It's going to be okay, and that's what it's looking like right now.
I'm tired of that shit, man.
And then 2 years later, you're going to revisit it, or maybe Sean's going to try it for the first time in 2 years. He's going to be like, hey, this game was great. Why haven't I been playing? It's like, don't worry, it sucked for the
That's
first 2
what I
years.
hate about it. There's no reward for being an early adopter for games like this. If there was some sort of incentive behind it, to a founders pack, or something that you can get exclusively now that will
You
never
get to
be...
pay full price, sir.
Yeah, and again, getting that first impression that was just like, this is terrible. That's that, and I don't know. There's like a lot of things visually that I think need to be improved on before launch.
And I'm one of those people where if I don't like the game when I first play it, I'm not going back to that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like, fuck that.
they'll lose.
There's
You.
other games to play. Reward companies who release games in a good manner, not those who
Like Sucker Punch, which is the next game I've been playing all week. Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think either of you guys have played it, right?
No, I haven't.
Fantastic game. It's everything I was hoping. I've for years wanted an open world samurai game, and I got it. And it has everything I want out of it. It has the right amount of difficult combat. It's not difficult. You have the choice if you don't like the traditional samurai, whoever draws first wins. You can be like a ninja and do it more Assassin's Creed style. I just walk up to every base and I'm just like, fight me, and sometimes I die, but I'm not about the assassin way. I'm about killing people while they look at me. There's no cheesy elements to it. I'm surprised. There's a lot of realism to it. There's a lot of artistic, like there's parts you have to like track down haikus, and you actually write haikus, and then when you get the haiku, you get like a bandana and it has your haiku inscribed in it. It's a beautiful game. I don't think you would like it, Sean, like as a full price game. I think it's one of those games, since you don't care about samurais.
It's a Black Friday game.
Yeah, like when you picked up Mad Max and you loved it, I think it's going to be that kind of experience. But I'm really looking forward to the multiplayer that they announce, that we can like co-op and do. Like, there's no details, but Ghost of Tsushima Legends, it looks like you can go into. So the single player game is all realistic. There's no like demons or stuff like that, but it sounds like the multiplayer will let you go into more of like a demon realm and fight more of the mythological Japanese characters. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Kind of like a Souls-like.
I guess there's no details though, but the fact that like you and I could like squad up, Greg, and like just go with our character and be samurais. Oh, and there's gonna be like 4 different roles as well, so you can be like the samurai, the ronin, the archer, I think, the assassin. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff, but yeah, it's good. I really like it.
I just wanted to touch on something real quick. I did look up Battletoads on Steam, and it does have remote play together support, so you can at least play with a friend co-op
on Steam.
Not online though.
Yeah, it's like you can. I forget how it works, but it's like a way to get around like games that don't have online co-op. You can remote play together.
Imagine a beat 'em up game releasing in 2020 on the Xbox One that does not feature online multiplayer.
And Jake saying it's not Sekiro. It is not Sekiro, and that's good. I bought Sekiro because I wanted a samurai game, and Sekiro destroyed me and punished me so bad with a stupid ogre that I haven't touched that game in a year. This game is a nice third-person like view, and it's very fair. It's not trying to punish you. You can even play on easy if you want. I play on normal, and it plays like Assassin's Creed, honestly, with samurai elements. It's just fun. It's nice, good. It's well done.
Punish me, daddy.
My play style is I'll wait for like enemies to attack me, then I parry them, and then I attack and kill them. It's very rewarding. And I got into the weirdest game this week. So I was looking to just kill some time in something free. So I dabbled into Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO. So it's free to play right now, or probably forever. That's when when MMOs go to a certain point, they become free to play. And the only thing I really knew about Final Fantasy XIV is the fact that it launched, it was a flop, then they destroyed the world with they threw a moon at it, and that's how they rebooted the game, and it's been successful since. Everyone's been saying great things about it. And everyone I see play this game are humanoid cats. And I know there's other races, but I'm like, oh, this is just the game that appeals to people who want to be cats. So I start the game, and I'm like, well, I will definitely not be one of those cat characters. Start the game. I start looking through the races and all their default outfits, and of course, the cat girl is in a skimpy outfit with a little short skirt and barely anything. And I'm like, well, do I want to look at a dude all the time or this other weird thing? No, of course not. I'm going to look at this little skimpy cat human, and so I ended up with a humanoid
bestiality
cat character.
It's called bestiality.
It is not beast. You take the tail off, and it's basically a human.
Jason.
We're not going to go there. Yeah, that's about all I've been playing. So let's get into our... Also, in the last 2 weeks, you say we're not going to 2 weeks ago, but that's when Epic filed their lawsuit on Apple, which is a pretty big story. Blah, blah. You don't care.
No, I don't care. It's two billionaire companies trying to measure their penises.
And now Microsoft is in the mix too.
Yeah, fuck off. I don't care about any of you.
But the fallout could actually be good, even if you don't care about the fight or you don't care about each player.
Could be. There's no proof that it will be, though.
But that's what I'm excited about, is the fallout. If Epic can manage to get Apple to take a step back on their stance, that'll be big. Because it's
I feel like that they still hold that Steve Jobs mentality. Is whatever we're doing is the greatest thing in the world, and if you don't like it,
of course, but they're not being even.
Fuck off until you adopt.
So here's my example. Let's say you have your iPhone. You get a McDonald's app on your phone. You go to order a Big Mac. Would you say it's fair for Apple to be like, oh, I'm going to take a 30% cut of that Big Mac because you ordered it through an app on our platform? I don't think
if they want to, if that's what you signed up for in your agreements. Do people not read agreements anymore? Do you not? That's something that fucking bothers the shit out of me. You see it in all walks of life. You literally sign a contract, and then you're not happy with the contract. It's well, why'd you fucking sign it in the first place? This is if you sign legal documents stating that this is the way it's going to be and this is the way it will be, I don't see how you can really bitch about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I find most unsettling about modern the games industry. Whether it's a company, whether it's an individual person, that's no one ever really thinks about the ramifications of the legal aspect to it. Everybody's so quick to go to Twitter and post a story about whether it's an assault or somebody was wrong for money, but it's at what point do you just take legal action and let it unfold in the courtroom? I feel like there's so much.
Twitter is the courtroom nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing gets resolved on Twitter.
But that's
it's the judge and the jury.
That's exactly what Epic is doing, though. And the same with Apple. They're weaponizing these people that are on social media.
That I'm against. That's stupid.
Right, and it's such a weird. They could have just filed it in court, and it would have been on gamesindustry.biz, and we would have got the factual evidence coming from it. And now there's people weighing in with opinions, and I just feel like it's such a weird way to. I mean, they're out here fighting this battle and making trailers about this fight and putting Steve Jobs' grave in Fortnite, and it's like,
what, they did that?
Yeah. Oh, no. I misspoke, because that was on like one of the fake blogs or whatever.
Okay, because I'm like, that's pretty.
I was like, holy shit, no, that's not right.
Wow.
But it's like, yeah, and just like Jake in the chat says, the trailer was already planned, but it's like, why even go to that level to even animate something so silly, knowing that your fan base is going to eat that shit up like fucking Cocoa Puffs? I don't know.
But here's the thing: when you're dealing with a player, I get what you're saying. You sign the contract; they had the choice to not sign or whatever, and they sign in. They respected that for who knows how many years, the last few years. How do you bring about change with a conglomerate the size of Apple?
Don't sign the long-term contract. If you feel like there's going to be issues down the road, like, is this a brand new company? Apple? Have we never heard of this company before? Apple? Are we not familiar with how they do business? Apple?
No, but it's pretty much
familiarize ourselves.
It's pretty much, hey, if you want access to the world, you have to work with us. Half the world.
Well, okay. Did they not just do, I don't even use, I think Apple products are fucking dog shit. I don't understand why anyone would use a MacBook or an iPhone. You get better shit with Android and Windows PCs. However, I respect their hustle. I respect how they went from a fucking joke of the computer industry, 15 years ago. Nobody had a fucking Mac. Nobody cared about Apple computers, and they rebuilt that. So, it's business. Motherfuckers need to understand, all because you love video games doesn't mean that there isn't a business aspect to it. And in the business world, shit is cutthroat. You don't like it? Don't get in the world of business.
I agree with you. I'm just saying I'm still interested in the Fallout. And if this does bring about change, I'm all for it. And I don't see any... Go for it, Greg.
I agree with you there. I feel like something's going to at least, knock Apple down a peg on their totem pole of being so high and mighty. And I think, granted it is business, but there's still, some sort of, modernization to how, these legal speak and the technology realm and how all these things, work together. And I think there is going to be, it's going to set some sort of precedent, other than, putting Facebook and Twitter on trial and trying to,
And I say it's when you challenge, maybe the way they're challenging isn't the best way, and I don't know another way they could have done it. But it's when you challenge the status quo that you bring about change. And Apple did the same thing in the 90s with the iPod, or that was called? It was called an iPod, right? Like the whole music industry was pretty much cemented on the fact of like CDs and everything. And then they're like, hey, how about we just like have a market and it's a license per music? I don't have all the details, but I know that they challenged the industry. The industry wasn't a big fan of it. They're like, no, music is sold as an album. You don't sell it. You can't just have any tracks.
And by that logic, they essentially ruined the music industry for a lot of people who that's, because nobody buys shit anymore. It's a good job, Apple.
Well, they brought about change. Change isn't always good. But I like seeing change and what happens out of it. What's our other topics? DC games. Are you guys big DC fans? Like, I feel like the reveals from yesterday. Excited.
I already knew about the Court of Owls game.
Yeah.
Because someone had a play tester had told me about it like 3 or 4 months ago, that they went to WB Montreal and they played this game, and like everything they pretty much said to me was in the trailer, so it wasn't necessarily a big surprise. I mean, I think it looks cool, but I don't know, it's kind of weird that it's a Batman game where you don't play as Batman.
It's more of a game in the Batman universe more than anything.
So I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it looks great, but
yeah,
I'm not super into like DC stuff. Like, I like Batman.
Superman, maybe.
Is he in DC?
Superman's DC. Yeah, you got Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman, which are your those are your big four.
Who cares about Aquaman?
Oh, and the Flash is kind of like somewhat big, and then Green Lantern if you're starting to get mid tier.
I never really cared for like any of the DC universe. Like even Batman was just kind of like, I don't know. It's weird to look at Marvel and be like, oh, this resonates with me so much more. But at the same time, the combat looks fun. I think they, for a pre-alpha build showing gameplay, like I was pretty impressed to see the progress that they made thus far. You know, especially with, you know, it looked like a lot of the effects and like, you know, lighting and just the scope of what they showed. This, you know, big reactor with Mr. Freeze, and there's lightning, and it's all frozen, and it just seemed more fleshed out as a next gen game. You know, to me than a lot of other ones that we have seen. But it also did something that, you know, I was thinking about the whole time too, that, you know, at the very end they say, you know, PC, Xbox Series X, and PS5. And it's just like, you know, this is like a whole realm of like upcoming games that are coming out that Nintendo is like not even part of the conversation on.
I don't know. I think they left the planet. Nintendo just, they're like, we're out.
Yeah, the same thing. Like if you, like the Suicide Squad reveal too, that game looks like it could potentially be.
But was it a reveal?
You know,
like,
well, yeah, it was already it was already known that that's what they were working on, like, and there were rumors the same. But still, you know, that's going to be a game that's truly, you know, has its eyes set on next gen, and Nintendo will not even be considered part of that.
But isn't that a 2022 game?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't really determine what's going to happen in 2 years, though.
I don't think
that's true. But even for the immediate though, 2021 with Arkham Knights is like, you know, that's.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's gonna be tons of next gen. I mean, that's how the Nintendo has been for the past 15 plus years.
Yeah. I don't think they're changing anytime soon. I remember as a kid, I was so against DC. I think it was my 6th or 7th birthday. People would get me Batman toys, and I was so upset because I'm like, why do I want to play with this dark, broody superhero when like I was very much a fan of like.
You wanted the Care Bears.
Not the Care Bears, but something bright. Like my cartoons were bright. Like
Captain Planet?
I love Superman, the cartoon, because that was bright. Captain Planet was bright and heroic and good. I would have loved a Captain Planet action figure.
Denver the Last Dinosaur?
Never heard of that. I think that's just in your corner of the world.
How did you never hear of Denver the Last Dinosaur?
Wait a minute. Was that the cool dinosaur with the glasses and a skateboard?
Yeah.
I guess I did. Here, no, I would not. I didn't care about dinosaurs as a kid. I wasn't like Sean.
What a piece of shit.
You know, some kid, like, I don't know, kids, you either like love dinosaurs or you loved like
sharks.
I didn't like sharks either. Like Street Sharks, didn't care about that.
Care Bears.
I did watch Care Bears. There's nothing wrong with What's wrong with Care Bears, man? Love, empathy, compassion.
Oh my god! Get the hell out of here.
Next topic. You're running out of time. You have 22 minutes left on your show.
Hey, I did watch Mighty Max. Mighty Max was good. I also had the Mighty Max stuff.
The little mouse?
Mighty Max? No, that was a kid with
that was Mighty Mouse.
There was the kid with the red cap, and it was like the Polly Pocket.
Oh yeah.
Boy version.
I didn't watch it, but I did have the Polly Pocket thing.
Yeah, Polly Pocket. All right, let's get into our Love It Like It, Hate It of the Indie World Showcase. Greg and I did watch this together last week, but starting off with Hades, which is I think just a port. Love It Like It, Hate It or meh.
I'm tired of Diablo style games, so meh.
I'm not gonna play it, so meh.
Meh.
Big meh. Raji, an ancient epic. Love It Like It, Hate It or meh.
I really like it. That's one of the games I've actually been playing. Very interesting game. I feel like it's bringing my neighbors and I closer together because I have lots of Indian neighbors. So I feel like I can like talk about Vishnu with them and stuff. So I really like it. It's a really enjoyable game.
That is a very strange angle to go with,
isn't it?
Well, I kind of share that same sentiment.
What?
After getting more exposure to the culture and becoming familiar with it, but I also like games like Sundered and that kind of 2D like scale, how they get close up and just like I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna pick it up probably this week and plow through it real quick and just
How's
kind of take it for what it is.
how's the play style though?
It's an action adventure hack and slash style game, but you have like power up abilities. You get different weapons. You can sort of use like do parkour off of your environment to do special attacks and shit.
Sounds
Nice.
cool. I like it. I want to try it. Combat looks cool. Spiritfarer, the game about building a boat, bringing people to the dead, and crafting things and all that good stuff. Love it like you hate or admit.
It's not a game I'm going to play, but I don't necessarily hate it. So kind of in between meh and like it.
Great.
I'm gonna like it. I've seen a lot of people say good things. Jason Schreier said it should have been called Sea of Grieves.
Oh, jeez.
But I don't know. I like unique kind of art style games like that. Like Forgotten Anne was another one that was kind of a hand drawn animated anime style game, and this kind of has those similar vibes. So I think I'll end up playing it.
It was a meh first because I played the demo and I didn't really care for it. Like it is a lot. I call it the hugging game because that's the most iconic thing you can do. You can hug pretty much whatever you want in there. But the trailer got me from a meh to a like it because it looks. Maybe it's also because I spent the last 3 months playing Animal Crossing. I see that there's like some crafting, some customizing, and like I'm getting pulled into this world of just living your life and making connections and being happy.
And again, that's kind of what we talked about in the when we watched it live, was that like what was going to be the stamp of the of COVID and the games coming out of this environment, and that was like the theme of the presentation.
But I think it's too early. Like these games were all pre-COVID in development, so I think the games that come out in a year or two are going to be more the indication of the COVID timestamp of the flavor. I think they're either going to be very, very I don't know, happy, frolicky games or just really depressed, angry games. Next, we got Untitled Goose Game with a surprise 2-player co-op mode now. Love it like a hater, man.
I like it. It's a nice addition.
Love it.
Like it.
Did you guys play
No,
Untitled Goose?
No, it doesn't have any online for the multiplayer though, which I feel is kind of a missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity. Arfin also did not like Thundercats. Or the biker mice from Mars.
Oh yeah.
Had the action figure though.
A little too hardcore for you there, buddy.
Yeah. Too hardcore. What were your cartoons? What were your Saturday morning cartoons?
Me?
Sean.
Oh.
How hardcore were you?
I watched wrestling and Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You know what was good? It's actually on Amazon right now. Ronin Warriors, but it's like relabeled as something different. That show was fucking tight.
This show looks familiar. Is this the family that ended up like they were driving on vacation and they ended up
They crossed the line, falling through time, living in the land of the lost.
Okay, that was a good show.
Land of the Lost.
I don't remember the theme song. Next up, A Short Hike. Love it like a hater, man.
That's another game I've been playing. Very enjoyable. I like the art style of the game a lot. I haven't really played too much of it. So far, I am enjoying it, so I'll give it a like it.
It was a meh when I saw it, but I've been hearing so much stuff. I'm now intrigued, and I'll be getting it, so it's a like it. Greg,
I like it.
I heard it's short, which I kind of like.
Good.
Well, I mean, it's called a short hike.
Be ironic if it was a long game.
But I like those games. Like Ika-chan was on the 3DS, and it was just like a short, sweet, like you do these things, and maybe a sequel comes out later. If not, then cool. Like great little experience.
Man, I remember on Sundays, my brother and my dad would watch wrestling, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is so boring." I'd go like play outside.
I was super into it.
Both of you were into wrestling, of course.
Yeah. Monday Night Raw was like ritual.
I grabbed like my Power Ranger toys. I'm like, I'm just gonna go outside and create stories. Torchlight 3, love it like a hater or man.
Once again, I'm kind of tired of Diablo style games, so meh for me personally. And I heard that the game isn't all that great, anyways.
It's gonna be a meh from me.
I'll give it a like just because it continues supporting the console, and who knows what else could come in the future.
Next one. This was interesting. It was a nice surprise. Takeshi and Hiroshi, a game about making a game for your younger brother.
I like it. I thought the premise was cool. I don't know that I'll play it, but I like the premise.
Same. I like the art style, the premise. I don't know if I'd pick it up though.
Yeah, it's kind of a meh for me. I'm not into like the Scribble Knots kind of DIY game.
Is that what it is?
Well, it just reminded me of that, and I'm just like, nah.
I'd try it on Game Pass. I don't remember this being here.
Game Pass.
Is it? Oh, that's a perfect place to try it. Hypno Space Outlaw. Love it like a hit or a meh.
Which one was that?
This looked like a crayon drawing 90s. It's the 90s internet simulator.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
I'm interested.
Of course you are. It was so ugly. I'm like, I don't want to relive this. That was a hate it actually for me. It looked like barf on the screen, and it's like, why would anybody want to go relive the early days of the internet? You don't want to go there.
Fun.
It wasn't that fun. ASL.
I watched a lot of porn.
On dial-up?
Yeah.
So like,
I remember I got caught once, and I was like, Mom, no, somebody just sent me this picture by mistake. I didn't know what happened.
Oh right, it wasn't even video; it was pictures.
Yeah.
We had such a slow modem, and we had AOL. There was no looking at any of that stuff.
And it would scan in like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson's boobs are gonna be here any second.
If only memes were a thing back then. So as it would like pop in, you wouldn't know what would happen in the bottom half. Card Shark. Love it like a hit or a meh. Game where you play as a card cheater.
I kind of like it. 'Cause I like card tricks and being shisty, so it's kind of interesting to me.
I'm intrigued too. I like it.
I didn't like the Frenchman that was talking and asking.
Of course you didn't.
I didn't trust that guy.
He's from Spain.
No, but he was from Spain,
and he said bonjour.
But he's French. No, he's a French guy living in Spain.
He got exiled.
For being a card shark.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Now he's making a game about it.
I thought that was cool, that part where it's like, just pulls out a gun and shoots him. I was like, sick. Like, this could be a fun game.
Yeah, I like it too. Manifold Garden. This is a kind of artsy puzzle. Really? Did you play it?
No, it just looked like a bad acid trip. And I was like, thank you.
I liked it. This is one I want to pick up. It reminded me of The Witness. Looks like a good puzzle game. Great.
Yeah, I like it, but I just hope that if I do end up playing it, that I don't know. I don't like a lot of games where you have to manipulate the world, because like I'm a very visual learner, but I like repetitiveness, and so like when it comes to, what was the other one, Felix the Reaper, it just would not click with me. And that was a game about changing shadows and observing your world on this flat plane and looking at it from different angles and trying to figure out the puzzles. And I don't know, there was just something about it that never clicked. And although this game does look cool, I just hope it's either something I'm going to immediately vibe with or just not play it altogether. So I don't know, I'm gonna like it.
Did the puzzle game, you just ended on a like it? Thought it was a mess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had troubles following.
Let's just go with a like it. And if the gameplay is actually more than what I think it's going to be, then that could help it out. But if it's like too,
it's just the first impression, Greg. We don't hold you to your like it, hate it, love it, like it, or meh. No one's gonna go back in time and be like, "Wait, he said he liked it."
Bullshit.
The internet's fucking crazy.
Dude, we've been doing this for 5 years, this show, and there's no clips from this show that has lived on, surprisingly. For better.
Exactly.
Next up, Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. Love it like it, or meh?
Like it. Very interested.
I'm interested.
Like it.
Garden Story. Love it like a hater, man. This looks like a blend between Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and
Nah, not my style of game.
I want to try it. So like it.
I like it. It's cute.
It's wholesome. Evergate. Love it like a hater, man. This is the game I believe that looked like Ori.
I've heard good things about it, so I'll say like it, but I don't think I'll ever play it.
Like
Maybe
it.
when it sounds.
Yeah, I like it. I thought the mechanics looked cool.
Yep. Bear and Breakfast. Love it like it hater, man.
Love it.
Of course, because you love your wild animals.
No, because it reminds me of theme park, and theme park is god tier gaming.
Really? How does it remind you of theme park?
Because you have people coming into the bed and breakfast by the busload, and so you have to make it. You have to arrange things and have things good, just like you do with your theme park and theme park.
I'll admit I forgot about this game, but I'll give it a like it.
Yeah.
Meh from Greg. Don't like bears.
Yeah.
I believe that
That's
is
not-
all of. Oh, then there were some other games mentioned. Just call them out if you have any thoughts. We have Inmost, The Red Lantern, She Dreams
Yes.
Elsewhere.
Red Lantern, I'm looking forward to that.
Really, what's that one about?
It's the wolf musher game.
Oh, Haven, Going Under, Unrailed, Struggling, Grindstone.
Played the Unreal demo.
Did you play it?
Yeah, it's kind of a minimalistic, like you have to like get supplies and put down tracks and cut down trees and pick up rocks and stuff. It's kind of like a little management sim to keep the train going.
Oh, that
I
sounds
don't.
fun.
I played until I crashed my train, and I think I might go back to it. I don't know. I kind of want to check out the demo some more.
Okay. And then finally Grindstone and Goner 2, which none of these really I don't have much to say about it. Overall, as a presentation, as a direct, love it like a hater, meh.
Liked it. It was good. Good variety of games. A lot of stuff that came out that same day.
Mm-hmm. I really liked it as well. It was I went in with very low expectations and was really hoping it wasn't just going to be a bunch of ports, and it wasn't. A lot of timed exclusives, a lot of new stuff we didn't see, and good variety. So I really liked it.
Yeah, I thought they did we kind of talked about this the day of, but just setting the expectation of what was going to happen, and delivering good pace on timed exclusives and stuff that was coming out that day, and they had a good variety of games, even though they had a common theme of loving and hugging each other. But I think overall it was just Nintendo calling back to itself and expressing why they're so good at having their own formula down pat. And I think it's just another showcase for them to prove that they created these and have done pretty well executing them.
They have the formula down so pat they don't even want to do it anymore. Where is the next Nintendo Direct?
If you watch Sean's video today, then you.
But I swear that you said this very same thing, Greg, last week. You're like, well, I just watched one of Sean's videos, and I think it's happening this week.
Well, you did get you got. That's the problem with you stupid motherfuckers. Okay, everyone,
Whoa! Whoa!
when you hear that there's when you hear that there's a presentation coming from Nintendo, you automatically assume that it's going to be a big on Nintendo Direct. There are multiple styles of Nintendo Directs. There are Nintendo Direct third-party presentations. There are Nintendo Direct minis. There are game-specific Nintendo Directs. There are full-on Nintendo Directs, and there are Indie World presentations. Did you get an event last week? Yes, you did. Okay. That's the problem with people. Everyone assumes that that's what you mean. Now, do I think the Direct this week is going to be of larger scale? Potentially, but people are just fucking dumb.
You need to make a primer on the different flavors of Nintendo Directs.
I talk about it in my videos. People just read the title.
Did he, Greg? Fact checked?
Oh, I don't remember.
Because
they need to say something at this point. At first,
you'll get something this week. I'm pretty sure of it.
I think so too. There's a lot of maintenance scheduled in the next few days in the eShop.
And again, it's one of those things that Nintendo hasn't even been part of this conversation about.
And you know what the weirdest thing is that as quiet as they have been, they can easily come out and just fuck up, the PlayStation 5 and the Series X for the holiday. Like, because the Series X doesn't have jack shit. PlayStation 5 has Spider-Man, of course, which is going to be great. But as far as we know, that's really, I know they said that they're going to have like the,
go on.
I was thinking, they said they're going to have the best launch lineup ever or whatever for the PlayStation 5. But yeah, that's just, all Nintendo really has to do is talk about a few games and then bam.
Yeah, and they're not doing what Microsoft did. And maybe that's the reason why they, hold their cards so close to their chest, because then you don't have to walk back things like Halo support for the Xbox One, or, multiplayer, or, a delay, or making promises and then, reeling them back. And so, maybe they're just trying to hit it, and I think that's what Nintendo mostly does right, is, hit it
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild.
What about Breath of the Wild?
2015. Holiday 2015. Holiday 2016. 2017.
Yeah, but look at the launch of it though. They executed the launch very well, and it held Switch owners over for a pretty long period of time, and had a decent pace as to when games were going to release after that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that that was the one announcement they did that was maybe a little bit premature, and
I think the Wii U and the Switch had a lot to do with that, though.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they had their reasons. I'm pretty sure Ratchet and Clank is a 2021 game. That's what I recall seeing in June, right?
They didn't really say. That was one of the things that they did kind of well, is they didn't really specify things. I think if Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man come out, you have a different ball game. But just Spider-Man is going to be great, and it'll be good enough. Xbox Series X doesn't have jack shit, and then you have Nintendo, who could just be like, oh yeah, by the way, we have the Mario 35th Anniversary Collection, we have Pikmin, we have one other game, here's some third-party games, and then it's a totally different ball game.
And here's an Ocarina of Time remake.
No, that would be talked about in 2021. I do think you could get a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, but 2021 is going to be the year of Zelda.
I could see that. Let's do the lightning round. If you guys have any questions, topics, anything we might have missed, let us know. One thing I want to bring up to you guys: have you guys seen the Netflix show High Score?
Started watching it.
Fantastic show. So it's a documentary series about video games, looking at the industry from pretty much the first console, from arcades, and it ends at when 3D games started. So it pretty much ends with Star Fox. It's really good. It's narrated by Charles Martinet as well, which I didn't realize until episode 3. Yeah, he's right. Either. He's in the intro credit where the coin goes around the loop-de-loop. It's narrated by Charles. I'm like, what? And then I listened to it, and I was like, oh my god, it is Mario.
I thought it was really cool because they're telling some of the stories that people have heard about. If you watched any gaming documentaries or whatever, they seem to rehash the same the outsider perspective as to what happened, but then you get somebody who actually created E.T. and telling their experience in developing it and the turnaround time and all this sort of stuff. But even some of the behind the scenes, the first console that had a cartridge, and I did not know that, or some of the people that were playing Missile Command, in the first tournaments, and I thought that was a very interesting aspect of the
I thought I was industry. Yeah, I thought I was going to go into this show with I know this. Oh, now we're going through this story, and every episode they took a completely different twist on it. I was like, I didn't know that. And they'll cover all the major beats of the Atari crash, the rise of Nintendo, the rise of Sega, but they play it in a very, I think it's going to go towards a big esports narrative, because I find that they're really touching up on the competitive aspect of gaming in every episode. I'm like, okay, they probably got some big esports investors back in this documentary, and the series is probably going to end with, this is why esports is so big today. That's my.
But even the Nintendo Game Counselor stuff was interesting.
That stuff was cool.
Yeah, it's man, could you imagine you just happen to go for a summer job and that's your job? That's so kick ass.
It was interesting to hear him talk about how it got harder and harder to be a Nintendo counselor because Nintendo wouldn't provide them with the games. Like, it was on them to play the game, figure out the game, and develop their own walkthroughs. And then as more games came out, they had to be on top of all that.
Yeah, and how that segued into Nintendo Power. But yeah, I urge anybody remotely interested, it's a good watch. Go see it.
Absolutely. All right. Lightning Man, do we have anything?
Favorite video game purchase for each of you?
Favorite what, sorry?
Video game purchase. I would say Spider-Man on the 32X because it's a piece of shit, but I bought it at $300 and now it's worth like over
in recent memory, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, I love the original so much. It was just the combination of the nostalgia with the everything else they added was bliss.
I'd probably say Mario Kart Double Dash. That's like one of my favorite games ever, and I have so many fond memories of playing with friends and playing with my fraternity brothers, and going till all hours of the night, just like playing match after match after match. It's by far one of my favorite games.
Moving right along. I was right about the turbo tunnel controls in Battletoads. RGT eShop Curator. Which digital only game would you say is a must? That's tough.
Pick one of the 3,000 games. Go. Is a must.
Warface, because it's free and it plays like Call of Duty. All right, we're caught up.
When is the year of
Waluigi? Gamer Talk says Pikmin 3, and if it happens, Mario ports. Really, that's lame. I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't think that'll be all that there is. And plus, you could do things with the Mario ports. I don't think Nintendo will. I think like Super Mario 64 will just be like 1080p widescreen, which would be sick anyways. But I think there would be more than that. But you got to remember, once again, Nintendo is a business. And like I said in today's video, you might think that fans are the most important thing for a company, but there's one thing that supersedes that. And what is that?
Nah.
Money.
Well, no, I mean one group of people.
Investors.
Shareholders. Yeah, shareholders. So,
Yeah. And they're very happy right now. Animal Crossing is carrying them very well into 2020. Along with Switch sales. All right. We're all caught up? Mm-hmm. All right. What are you guys, we're going to call that a show, but what's on the radar for this week for both of you?
I'm finally doing my Arcade 1-Up mod this Wednesday, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's all I got.
And Greg, what are you cooking up in the back? I see you tinkering with some circuitry.
Yeah, I was trying to fix my Xbox One X, the HDMI retimer chip. Took a dump, but been trying to fix that. I've been wanting to play, jump back into Apex Legends where I don't have to use my Xbox One S because it sucks. But actually, I bought a limited release of a game this week for the Wii U, which surprised me. And I didn't buy it from Limited Run Games. I bought the Shakedown Hawaii Special Edition for the Wii U, so I'm pretty excited about that. But I'll post that up when I get it. But yeah, anything to avoid Limited Run Games. But yeah, I've been trying to get back to being active in my PC writing. So always you can find me on PC Invasion. That's where all my bylines are these days. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. I was actually sick last week, which is why you probably didn't see me streaming so much. But this week I'll be back to the regular Animal Crossing streams. Tomorrow we're doing some Castlevania. I did put up a Grimoire of Souls Castlevania Diaries last week. I forgot to talk about that. That was actually a good game. Go watch that if you want to have my thoughts on the Castlevania mobile game. There's a lot of good stuff in it. I was surprised. What else we should be finishing Carry On Wednesday, and more Castlevania Diaries this week. And I'm also launching something I've been working on for a few months that is not YouTube, Twitch related, but it is for the gaming industry. It's my next big project. So hoping to launch that this week as well. So keep an eye out for that on my socials. Otherwise, we'll see you guys same time, same channel next week. Until then, keep it classy, or as Sean would say,
Keep it classy.
or as Greg would say,
A little bit of both.
have a great week, everyone. Thank you for watching. Take care.